There are a few ways that you can use up your practice pieces and turn them into wee bags and notebook covers. And one of the fun things to do is cover them in circles, plain ones, decorative ones, all sorts. So here's a silly way of doing a circle on a domestic sewing machine. You could have a circular attachment, or you could just mess about with an upside down drawing pin stuck to the base of the sewing machine with masking tape. You put your little piece under the sewing machine and poke the pin right through. There it is. And I'm going to stick a cork on top of that, which will hopefully help it to stay in position. Having just recently been doing free motion quilting, I had on a straight stitch plate. Now I've remembered to put the ordinary plate back on, and I am going to just choose a straight stitch for now. I think that's a good idea, just to see how we get on. And remember to put your foot down, but this one does it all by itself, so it should sew nicely now. And instead of it going along in a straight line like it normally would, if you don't really touch it, it's forced to do a circumference around where that pin and the cork are, which is quite fun. It sometimes has a habit of buckling up a bit, but no, it's okay. I'll get it to speed up so that we can get all the way round. Whoops, it's got stuck on the edge. I'll help it through the throat of the machine there. Not really holding onto the fabric at all, I'm just guiding it round with my finger. And now with any luck, that is going to join up to where we started. Or thereabouts. Oh, how about that? Pretty good. So that's one way of doing it. Right, so we'll just take that off. Unstick it. And if you really like that method, you just have to move the masking tape and the pin along and you can get a different diameter of circle. I'm just going to cut that. Now another thing that you can do is use your pencil compasses, if you can get them to show up on the fabric, or a chalk pencil. So I have already used this template to draw a couple of chalk lines, and I think I'm going to have a go at a decorative stitch. So I'm going to pick one of these quilty stitches. It's a bit of a herringbone there. I'm going to come over here and I am going to put the needle down right on the chalk line. Okay, if I had to put the foot down, I'd do that as well. And I'm just going to lightly hold the edges of this fabric, watch the needle, and my finger and thumb are really just holding the position and turning gradually. So I'm watching the needle and watching the chalk line the whole time. I'm not doing anything with this hand. This hand is just making sure that the foot can't wander off in a direction that it wants to go. So just watch that needle, watch the chalk. You can go as fast as you like. If you're feeling confident, you can speed up a bit. Might need 2 fingers if you go faster. Now you can just go over this whole thing with overlapping circles of different sizes, add a bit of free motion if you feel like it, or just play with all the decorative stitches that you probably don't use most of the time. And then obviously, if you want to, you can add beads and sparkly bits. There is no limit to how much decorating you can do to a piece like this. Okay, so we're just about to meet where we started, and I might just do a couple of little stitches to overlap. I'm not too fussed about whether they cover each other up. And I'll cut it. So that's the outer ring done. It's quite nice in that neon thread. So I'll just have a look at my menu to see if I've got something else that I fancy. There's another one that will work. I like the ones that have got a sort of straight line through the middle of them, the stitches, because they work well. Right, so I'm going to just go over here. And I've got to try and keep an eye on the needle. And I want it to, well, of course it goes backwards and forwards, but when it's in its middle point, it needs to be on the chalk line. This is a more geometric pattern, so to keep an eye on it a bit. Now, if you haven't got a set of circle templates or pencil compass, you just rummage around in your kitchen cupboard and look for some cups, glasses, saucers. Here we go, building it up nicely. So I'm going to speed up just to get to the end. This is one of those slightly addictive things. You think, well, I'll just do another 2 circles and then I'll have a cup of coffee. But you find yourself still sitting there another hour and a half later because it's been quite good fun. And obviously I can change the thread colour as often as I like. That's working well. It looks a bit like a train track. My fingers are just doing the job of the drawing pin and kind of anchoring it in that position that it can't go anywhere. Nothing else is holding it. So I'm really not steering it or gripping onto it at all. It's fingertip control. Watching the needle, watching the chalk. Come up to the last little bit. Just over where we started. Stop. Snip it off. So I can go on like that and cover the whole thing in circles, change the thread, add some bits and bobs, and then it will be a really nice little book cover.